Hi Tech Work, it's Natalie from Circuit Recruitment again, and welcome to another installment of Landing a Job 101. In this series, I'll be sharing one tip per video, taking you slowly through the whole process involved with landing yourself a new role. Now, in my previous video, I talked about how to prepare for an interview when you have absolutely no idea what you're in for. So if you want to know more about how to equip yourself in that kind of situation, then go over to my YouTube channel to view it and many more episodes of this series. Now, in today's video, I'm going to cover off the age-old dilemma of how to spin up a quick but impactful elevator pitch about yourself. The cool thing about this is that it's not only good for interviewing scenarios, but it'll also serve you very well when it comes to your networking. It's something quick and easy that you can pull out in any social and professional situation that's going to allow you to have those around you intrigued and keen to get to know you more. Now, obviously, this will look slightly different to the elevator pitches that you're going to see in like Shark Tank. And that's mainly because you're not really selling a product, but you are technically selling yourself. So the skill and the processes that are involved with building a classic sales elevator pitch is actually very much applicable to creating one about yourself. The first thing that you need to know is that the average attention span is only 8 seconds. So you need to make sure that what you're saying in that first 8 seconds is the most engaging part of what you have to say. Most people actually call this the hook, and we'll get into what that looks like in a sec, but overall, the general recommendation is to keep your elevator pitch to around 30 seconds. Now, obviously, this can be more or less depending on how yours pans out. The first thing that you want to do is focus on the hook. Start with the most interesting things about yourself. Finding interesting things about yourself does get easier over time because obviously the more life experience you have, the more interesting situations you've encountered and overcome. But if I was to give an example of my hook, it would be something along the lines of, I'm actually an ex-neurophysiology scientist turned recruiter, and now I work as a recruitment consultant in the tech space, specializing in software with a keen interest in diversity and inclusion in the hiring process. Now you'll notice the two interesting things that I popped in there is the fact that I used to work in science and that I have experience with DE&I. The hardest part about this exercise, especially if you are just starting out in your career, will probably be trying to figure out what interesting things you want to include here. But I'm telling you now, if you dig deep enough, you are bound to find something that will be suitable for this. Whether it's the fact that you do music in your spare time, have some sort of side hustle, or the fact that you graduated as the dux of your class in some sort of subject. Now you need to shift gears and talk about your why. What are you vying for? This is where you speak about where your passion lies while simultaneously alluding to the fact that you are the qualified person to work with whoever you're talking to. And this is what some people call the link. Now mine would look a little something like this. After working in the public system for quite some time, I really felt like I wasn't making an impact in healthcare. So I shook it up and sparked my career in recruitment. And since then, I haven't looked back. I've been able to help all different types of companies scale from startups through to large enterprise across lots of different domains as well. And best of all, I found my passion for advocating for women by volunteering for organizations like Girls in Tech. Now there's social proofing in what I'm talking about, and I'm telling them what I've achieved so far, but I'm also adding in there something that differentiates me from the rest, which is my investment in empowering women in tech. Now lastly, it is always important to have a call to action. This can be quite flexible depending on what you're comfortable with saying. Make sure that this is something that you actually resonate with. For example, I wouldn't really be comfortable saying to somebody after my pitch, do you think that there's space for me in your team? In my opinion, that's a bit too forward for me. However, that might be something that you would be perfectly comfortable saying, which is totally fine. But something that I would be more comfortable saying is something along the lines of, I really love coming to events like this because it allows me to expand my network for the future. Would you mind if I connected with you on LinkedIn so we could stay in touch? Or, I love going to events like this because it allows me to expand my network for the future. And I'm actually going to be open for work in the next few weeks. So if you know of any great opportunities, I'd really appreciate it if you could keep me in mind. And that then opens up the opportunity for them to connect with you further or tell you a little bit about what they've got going on in the background. They might even know somebody who could help you out. Obviously, for an interview scenario, it would sound slightly different, but it could be something along the lines of, I'm really grateful you guys actually gave me the opportunity to interview with you because I've been keeping an eye on the company for a little while now. It seems like a fantastic place to work, and I'm hoping that after this, you'll be keeping me in mind as the prime candidate. And there you go. You have a 30-second elevator pitch, which should serve you well in any social situation, both professional and otherwise. Now, my other top tips to keep in mind is obviously keep it short and sweet. Do not ramble. You don't want to make this pitch 3 minutes long, nobody is going to want to continue a conversation with you after that. And you will lose your interviewer's attention. Also, don't rush it. You don't want to be speaking at 1,000,000 miles an hour. You want to give people time to digest what you're actually saying to them. The best way to avoid rushing it is to practice it a couple of times, whether that's in front of the mirror or in front of a close friend that you trust, or even in front of your dog or cat if you're that way inclined. And the last thing I would say is read the room. Make sure that you're being adaptable. If you are in a really casual scenario with fun-loving people, you might want to add a joke or two in there if it feels right. However, if you're in a really formal corporate environment, it's best to try and stick to the script as much as possible and deliver it as professionally as you can. However, don't memorize it and say it word for word. I don't think that kind of thing comes off as very genuine, and you really don't want to come across like you're a robot. So say it enough that the words are there in your brain, but if it doesn't come out exactly like how you wrote it the first time, don't panic. It's totally fine. As long as what you're trying to say comes across, that's all you can ask for. Finding a new role is never easy, but if you make sure that you have a really good elevator pitch in the back of your mind that you can pull out whenever you need to, you're going to definitely extend the chances of you being able to land a new role. Now, let me know if there's anything that I've missed in the comments. I am super open to taking inspiration from any real life scenarios that you might have had while you were yourself looking for a new role and struggling. So let me know your pain points, let me know what kind of questions you want answered, and you can view the rest of the videos in this series on my YouTube channel linked within the video's description. As usual, thank you so much for watching, and until next time,